Konnichiwa, YouTube. It's actually after midnight. My Ancestry.com DNA results came in a couple of days ago, and what I expected it to read was heavily British and Irish, with a typical mix of maybe Europe West, and was hoping for, the Native American to show up. Like their other family, both sides say, we've got this Cherokee in our family. Across the country, this is the case, but particularly here in the 9 counties, which used to be the Cherokee Nation before the Trail of Tears and the removal of them by Andrew Jackson and the federal government at gunpoint as they were death marched to Oklahoma, in a scene that you can not find in many countries, maybe China or Russia, but they death march civilians hundreds of miles. But so everybody here thinks they're Cherokee, and people walking around, I've got all this Cherokee in my family. But I really believed it, because Dad said he's seen pictures of a great-grandmother with a corncob pipe that was, so Cherokee and everything. But even the family book, that doesn't show up, the book that was written on the Wimpy family. So it's not that shocking. Everybody finds out it's not true when they take the DNA. But, and I look like I just walked out of southern England, so I did expect a lot of British. And it came back 86% British and 7% Irish, which, in retrospect, makes a lot of sense. And but that's a shockingly high amount of British, even for people in Britain. That's a high percentage, and with only 3% European West, and in trace low confidence amounts, 1% Middle Eastern, which is a shock. That I've never even heard tell of Middle Eastern relatives. The only Middle Eastern person I know is Alhan, my best friend's wife, and she's from Baghdad. I'll have to call her and tell her. But yeah, that's probably what's wrong with my hair. I've always felt it's too thick and dark, and it started going gray at 15. Anyway, it's a pain. But Middle East, yeah, that's interesting. I've always been fascinated by the area. Although I despise Western dualistic religions, I have always been really interested in the history of it, and particularly the early history and medieval history of it. I even had that website on the Persian Empire 20 years ago. But this would be non-Jewish Middle Eastern, between Israel, Iraq, Jordan, and Syria, somewhere in there, 1%. Way back when, I don't know, Crusades. But these tests are accurate, so I don't know, I believe it. But so I am very, very British. I do feel very British. I feel that I'm an Anglophile, of the BBC, Somerset Maugham, Shakespeare. I think I feel more comfortable in southern England than I do in the middle of the southern United States. I feel alienated, but having Asperger's syndrome, I'd probably feel alienated anywhere I was. But if I was in Britain, they have services for Asperger's syndrome and free diagnosis that comes to your house. They have home service for diagnosis with Asperger's syndrome, and they still use the Asperger label in specific, because in a way they discovered it in the 80s, doing mass research geographically on kids. So yeah, they're way advanced in any way. Culturally, of course, they live longer than we do. Their healthcare system is socialized. So yeah, it's like another planet of civilization. It's not like it's a country. It's a real country, not an open sewer. So yeah, I do wish I was still in Britain. But another thing that's calls to mind, I was just watching Richard Spencer on CNN, and I've heard him interviewed on NPR, the spokesperson for the alt-right movement. And he talks about white privilege, and we need to get more white privilege, and it just says all kinds of outrageous, racist things. And I can't believe that alt-right came surging to the fore and into the White House with Bannon. And that's been a shock for me. I mean, when I first started doing YouTube videos, I ran across videos like that, but I didn't realize it would ever be like a movement. I think that element of the alt-right, and certainly any talk of white privilege, is racist, Nazist. All of their rhetoric is just Nazism. They don't just call it Nazism, but Some things they say are true, like we need an nationalist economic policy. We need to stop the globalism. We need to act in our own self-interest. And I wouldn't say that limiting immigration is particularly racist. You do have to make rational, self-interested decisions about immigration. But any talk of race superiority or supremacy or privilege is just Nazism, and is really sad to see anybody even pay that lip service. So ethnicity doesn't mean really anything to me. I mean, it would have been nice if I was part Native American, but I'm not going to go through any white guilt phase either. But I do wish I was back in southern England a lot of the time. I'm still thinking of moving there, actually. It's kind of depressing, though. But, yeah, well, anyway, the alt-right sucks. But I would recommend everybody get your DNA tested. It's interesting, even if you're almost entirely British. Have a good evening. Konnichiwa.